Thank you all. Guys, can you hear me? Yeah? Yes. So agile, inspect and adapt, right? Things are not working, let's do it. So, thank you all for joining today's session, and thanks to Susie and the team for organizing this great event. But before we start, I would like to ask you, how many of you are living in another country that you are originally not from? Oh, yeah. That's where I like to talk about the culture. And I will tell you my story. Originally, actually, I'm coming from Croatia, but I moved to Denmark almost 30 years ago. And, I read about Danish culture and all these things. And said, learning language and just go on. And then I think there is some Danish people who are living in Denmark right here. So probably probably you know, but in Denmark this tradition of eating rye bread is called the smørbrød. It's kind of good. And what I didn't know, I joined my first company, and I saw these Danish people for lunch eating this smørbrød. Saying, oh, this is cool. I heard it's healthy and so on. And I took these 2 pieces, and then I just take from one end to another. And I came to the table with my colleagues, said, enjoy your lunch. And one of my colleagues looked at me, sorry my language, what the hell are you doing? I said, what do you mean, I just want lunch. You are not mixing, this meat with some, pate, and there is the rules. I said, what kind of rules? Where can I read about it? No, you just need to learn about it. And then he took me actually in one really great place in Denmark, traditional place, and then I got introduction. But I'm still making the mistakes, there is some big events and so on. But, that's something, about culture when we come to the new organization, for example. We read about, their values and so on, but there's always some unwritten rules, right, what we are discovering on the way. And that's kind of got my intention. I was thinking, okay, it will be really good to explore different culture in organization. What does it mean? And today I will present you one case where I worked in one big French old company, I think 150, 60 years. So, and of course you can ask me also questions. But before we start that, I would like just also to invite you to raise your hand, ask the questions. And by the end of today's session, I hope you will get a little bit more insight at how can one magic word bring more agility. With the purpose, I'm not using the word agile because agility is much more broader, and it's not about any frameworks here as such. But before we start, I have a question for you. Don't be shy. How would you describe your current organization culture? Is it kind of competing culture, collaborative, control, creative? Don't be shy. Collaborative, yeah? Control.
It's mix of collaborative and control.
Yeah? Okay.
Vertical and
Yes.
horizontal, depends where you see.
Yes. And therefore it's important really for us to understand when we talk about control, that's probably because the organization and industry we are operating required, if it's a finance industry or health industry, there's a lot of compliance and so on. And that's also good. So don't go, we cannot be agile or something if it's control. We can. We just need to inspect and adapt and what makes sense for us. Okay. And another question for you. When you join your new organization, what was the biggest cultural surprise for you?
I can go. For me, I understood diversity and inclusion is a global thing. It's practiced everywhere. And then they expected, like they follow diversity and inclusion, but then they want me to speak Danish from second day or be okay with it. So that was a surprise for me.
Thank you.
The amount of corporate politics, like the power play and...
Yeah.
Lack of politics.
Lack of politics.
Lack of
Okay.
policies, yeah.
Nice. Anyone else?
Bureaucracy in everything from getting something approved in IT, but when the stakeholder asks for something, bureaucracy disappears and they want it on a plate immediately.
Oh yeah. I know the feeling, I know the feeling. So now I will tell you the story about this big French company, digital automation, energy management. Yeah. First of all, I was thinking, the company name is Schneider Electric, and when I heard the name, Schneider, please, nobody not to be offended. First thing I was thinking, it's a German company. You know, Schneider, like, second name, it's, for me, so German. Then I got surprised, that was the first thing. But I will share how I approach, together with some of these senior vice presidents in organization for global supply chain in the whole Europe, how I approach with them to start shaping the culture towards more agility and what they become aware of when they discover some of these things. So first of all, when I engage with them, I ask them, what is your leadership agility or leadership challenge? And as many of us, when we are talking about challenges, we are always talking about organization, but nobody talking about my personal challenge. And then, as you can see there, standard silos, lack of collaboration, and some kind of personal challenges they mention, like AI. How that, yeah, AI is coming to be here, but we are forgetting that, all changes actually start with us. If I don't want to change, nothing will change. And then I asked them about these different agile transformation, as they call it. And what they discover every time that something is coming outside of organization and pushing it strong, this old part of organization is actually just pushing back. And I participate in open space here about this shaping culture, when one person mentioned that we hit the ceilings and then nothing is happening. And they discover also in the Schneider about this. And what we did together with them, or what I did together with them, then we said, okay, but how your current culture supporting agility in ways? And what they discover is actually, what they discover actually that organization culture shaping the leaders, but in the same time, leaders actually shaping the culture of the organization. And they realized actually it's our responsibility as a leader to bring more agility in organization. And how we work it with that? First of all, actually, we run together with, 800 people in organization across the Europe, survey using this, if you are aware of competing value framework model, where we went through the five different points in the organization to discover where they are. And I believe majority of organization, when you ask the leaders what they think, how it is going, what will their employees say about them and organization, everything's fine. But when you go below level and ask the employees, then you get a different pictures. So for example, when we asked the leaders, they were thinking, yeah, we are collaborative, we have a time for innovation and so on. But the employees actually see it differently. And when we combined these survey results, we identified that they had a really, really strong competing culture and competing values and control values. Competing means not only competing against the markets and that they are other people, but competing inside the organization against each other. They have many plants in the Europe, and one of the leaders mentioned example, they have been delayed to deliver some components because they were missing part components in a Hungary factory. And they needed to order from China, and it took 3 months. And then I asked them, wouldn't you just drive to Czech Republic or France? No, we have a rules, we have procedures and all these things. So, but would it harm you if you kind of adapted these procedures and talk with each other within the Europe? Yeah, they changed it later on when they discovered it. But what they are just confirming that their culture is really strong and they are competing and there is a lot of control. But what they would like to discover is actually how they can enable more collaborative part of the culture or shape the culture and aligning more time for the teams to have a time for innovation, to allocate time for innovation, to invest in innovation. As you can see here, this dotted dash, it's kind of desired stuff, what they would like to see. And they were also aware of, it's not like 3 months project, it is, as we heard also this morning, it is journey, it takes some time to evolve to something new. Based on this survey, we covered this 5 part of the organization. When I was working as a leadership coach with them, first thing we took, it's about organization focus. They want to be more collaborative and creative. I asked them only one question. What needs to happen to enable this collaboration and creativity in organization? And we had a one-day workshop, and they came with, I just took some ideas. They feel this top part, with all great ideas. I said, okay, that's great, but you need to be aware, now you are accountable for this to make it. They accepted. The second thing is about the leadership. Same question, or similar question. How can you, as a leader, enable your organization or create environments where collaboration and creativity is enabled? Again, a lot of things they provided. Third thing, it's about employees. What can you do for your employees as a leader to enable these things? Collaboration and creativity. And really a lot of good input. And I think I will share this presentation with Susie, and then it will be available for you, so no worries about it. Then fourth thing was about this essential kind of, what is the kind of glue that is connecting us as a company for this global supply chain in the Europe. Similar questions, they came with a lot of ideas what they could do. And the last thing was about how they, as a leader, see success or celebrate success in their organization. A lot of great initiatives came. They wanted really to, they could see the benefits of enabling actually organization towards more collaboration across the whole Europe and creating different initiatives for more innovating culture, and also later on they actually changed their incentive programs for the great ideas and so on. So it was a good journey for them, I would say, and also for me. I learned a lot. After this workshop, of course, all these things were kind of great ideas. There was a 30 senior vice president there sitting, and then I asked them, okay, but what are you going to do about it? And then I used this simple tool. It's called Catalyst Canvas. You can use it, on the team level, organization level, but it's really give you good overview of, what is the goal. We divided them to the 4 groups, and each group defined the goal, and then we also created a kind of roadmap by when we want not to see all changes or all these things implemented, but when we can see that target is moving in the right direction. Then we discussed it through the goal, why now this removing silos, for example, why now it is important, what obstacles we might see on our road, how we are going to measure the progress, how we can see that needle is moving, from A to B. So they also defined some of these tangible and measurable targets. And then to kind of start bringing this agility mindset, some small steps. Don't plan everything, for the next 6 months. I told them, let's take 1 month, focus on some of these initiatives, some of these tasks, implement it, evaluate it, receive feedback, and move on. They accept that, and they were lucky, I would say, and happy they told me, one of these managers told me, but this small step, I heard some of teams there, they are doing something Scrum and they have a planning and so on. So maybe, does it work for them? So, well, yeah, actually, maybe we should, as a leaders, also try to organize it. We should not, they told me, we don't need to call them Scrum sets. Don't call it anything. As long as you can see that you are moving towards reaching your goal. That's the most important. And then they start organizing actually, as a Scrum team, as we know, many of us who are working in the Scrum teams. Sorry, just a little bit water. By the way, do you have any questions or comments? I'm taking prep.
In your previous graph, just wondering why, if you go back, all the suggestion and the sticky notes fall in collaboration and create. So you don't have something to correct in the compete or control or what?
No, they focus it only on their kind of desired culture. They were so aware of control and competing. They knew it, what could be even better there. And of course, agreement was not like, now we should only work on collaboration and creativity. We will still have these things. But if we continue to compete, let's compete against each other, maybe compete more out of market to gain market share. Again, kind of mindset shift. Thank you for asking. Any other questions or comments? Okay. I was engaged with them for a year, and we had a couple of workshops. And one of these things, what they also discovered actually during the first workshop I had with them, is that they had a kind of leadership quarterly meeting, but it's always in a headquarters in France or in Grenoble or somewhere. And probably some of you know also about this Gemba term, go there where information they are. And then I, just asked them, how many of you are visiting your plants around the Europe? Once a year if we have a time and so on. I suggest, you are planning next workshop in Grenoble, and there is close to the Grenoble 2 or 3 factories, I think. Can we move there? Is it any kind of security procedure and so on? No, we can do that. And then after each workshop, we agreed to meet next plant. It was mainly in France, but later on they moved it to Budapest and some other place. And the funniest thing is, we came in the factory. We got all these protection and protection shoes and everything. And then we were walking across these production lines, and you could see people like, who the hell are these guys? Employees in the plant, they didn't even know who they are. Some people are coming. And then I asked these leaders, but how do you feel now? This just makes sense, because now we can talk and hear all these challenges and good stuff that teams are producing. And they are practicing now they have this kind of quarterly meeting, and every quarter they meet different places around Europe.
And a part of the quarterly meetings, what were the outcomes like?
Yes. What I also help them or support them in to actually structure even better their quarterly meeting. They had talking about, of course, money and the people and so on, but they didn't have kind of clear structure, and it was like ad hoc and so on. And I suggest them, like, do you have in your invitation for quarterly meeting a clear agenda or objectives while we are meeting here and desired outcomes? I said, we have agenda, but we know that's quarterly meeting, but why you are meeting? It costs probably €1 million to bring all these senior vice presidents one place. Maybe even more. So they actually start defining in an invitation, purpose of the meeting, this, and then desired outcome. And instead of spending the whole day, like 8 hours, they could finish for 4 hours all these bullet points from agenda. And then they went across the factory and talked with the plant managers or with the people on the floor. That's really what they like it. And as I mentioned, I have been working with them for a year. And last time when we had a meeting, I just asked them, what we have achieved so far. Does it work from you, all these things what we... And you can see a lot of these things, they had these war rooms almost, they call it war rooms, kind of crisis every single day. They minimize that. They also implement this, it's called the Kaku, I think. It's something like, when you get together either online or, in the factory, and then you share some of these success story or learn. It's like a retrospective, I would say. So, and they actually start collaborating much more between them on their level, but also across the different plants in Europe, calling each other if something is missing in all these things. And the people felt actually less stressful. And I suggest them, probably maybe by the end of the year, and they can run the same survey again, maybe including different people, just to see if needles are moving where they want. And they will probably do that. Their manager told me, he'll probably call me so I can just send them this survey so they can fill it in, and then we can see. And I was there as external, but I always say I have a real job, in a real company in Copenhagen. But that's one of my friends from Agile community. He asked me if I can take this assignment, and I had the time. So, because people sometimes can think, when you're coming as external, it's different story than internal. Maybe that was kind of my first time I tried. Maybe, but when you make people aware and don't push so much for something, then, in my opinion, they are much more receptive. So, okay, let's give it a try. Let's give it a shot. And what we learn, don't assume, as I did it for smørbrød or rye bread. Understand things. Try to understand, the culture first in the organization or your team, especially if it's multicultural organization. And then when you are talking about agility, and we have all these wonderful agile values, and as Dave mentioned this morning, like 69% of people are focusing on processes. For 3 years, we actually evaluated first agile value principle, pushing the different processes and tools and so on. Agility is something what all of us have, right? I'm kind of more agile than others if I'm moving and all these things. But when you are bringing agility or something new organization, actually magic word is end. We will not change competing culture from day 1 to 2. We will continue to compete, minimize competition, for example, internally, but we will continue to compete externally. We will still have all these processes, rules, regulation, and so on, because that's how we operate. But then we will add something new which can help us more to reach our goal. And always ask the questions when people ask you, about this agile. I'm always asking questions like, why do you believe agility will help you to reach your goal or your business strategy? And it's not always easy answer, for especially for leaders, because they need to think, because they were focusing on different processes and tools and so on. Something, what you can do to make people more aware about it. If you want to connect with me on the LinkedIn, and this is just some companies I work at, apart from Schneider, everything was kind of real job, as I call it. And I love to learn, and especially during the COVID, and the prices for all these trainings kind of was dramatically reduced, and let's go crazy, with all these ICF and training. And also, if you are interested, thanks for participation. You can book me if you would like coaching session. It's via Calendly. I think all this QR code works. And Menti, if you scan that, then you can provide me feedback. There is 3-4 options, I think, or 5. So, thank you so much. I hope